What's poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
The one true co-host with the one true co-most.
Co-most Mustache.
Co-mustache, what?
Hey, yeah, how's mustache growth going?
So we are on, as of day recording, we are on day 13 of mustache growth.
You know, it is remarkable to me how I feel like you got through the awkward phase, like, so quickly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking good.
I mean, I would say I was trying to like get a look at myself in the, and I leaned away from the microphone because that's what's in the way. I would say, yeah, like at this point, I think like I have a mustache, like not maybe like a super robust one. But
Yeah,
like it's there. Yeah,
It's there. I mean,
it's not like, oh, you just forgot to shave.
No. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem like laziness. So you were telling me this morning, are you actually shaving more now than you were before?
That actually, yes. So that is a weird phenomenon that has come with the growing of the mustache where, like I have noticed that now I'm actually shaving more often because now, like previously, if I went like 2 or 3 days without shaving, like it wasn't a big deal at all. All of my facial hair would have grown a little bit and not in like a, oh boy, you look terrible kind of way.
Right.
But like now it's like the mustache is definitely like really there. So, but it's still like, it's not like, as I said, it's not super duper bushy or anything. So if I go like 2 or 3 days without shaving now, then the rest of my facial hair will grow in a way that looks like, wow, you're really not taking care of yourself because the mustache is really there.
Right.
So just like the rest of it, then it makes it all look like you're just not maintaining a lot. So instead now I'm having to shave a lot to make sure that it's very obvious that I'm intentionally growing the mustache instead of just being a complete or just completely ignoring it altogether.
It's such a hilarious in between. But no,
yeah.
I'm very like how do you feel like you are spiritually connecting with the mustache? Like, do you feel as though you have like stepped into a husk of a different version of yourself? Or
well, there are plenty of times where I just forget it altogether.
Oh yeah,
that
nice,
it's like there.
Nice.
But like there are like last night there. Over the weekend, there was a couple of occasions.
Yes, there were quite a few actually.
Yes, where we had to like dress up for stuff or like, let's see. Last night was Mother's Day.
Yep.
And so I was like getting dressed for it and I went to put on this this Pokemon shirt that I had that was kind of like fun and summery. And it's like pink and it's covered in like Magikarp and like Exegutors and Shuckles and it looks like very tropical and like just sort of like a fun cookout vibe.
Yeah, hilariously, I feel like I also showed up at your house in like a very tropical.
Yeah,
like so it was almost like, haha, we didn't plan this, but it happened.
Right. Well, cookout has like that like summer feel to it.
It certainly does.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a hot summer day, but you know, sort of the vibes you're going for. And like as I put it on, I was like looking in the mirror, and I was like, do you know what? I think this shirt goes better with the mustache.
Nice.
And that was like the second time I'd had that experience in like 3 days where like Beth brought me this shirt on Thursday night because we went out to a show at the Berglund Center where I used to work.
Nice, bingo.
Yeah. And I had we hadn't worked out the details, so she had like just brought me clothes from home and I like put it on and it was like, this shirt I think goes better with the mustache. And it was like, have I like been like buying clothes for that it was the mustache the missing piece the whole time. Was I like living the life of man with mustache just sans mustache?
It almost seems like it. It almost seems like it.
Possibly.
Like, I think you're because it's like the mustache is almost like the seasoning on your appearance. What am I going for here?
It feels like it straddles the line between making certain kinds of clothing like ironic, but like no, actually.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sans mustache, if I'm wearing that Pokemon shirt, I get compliments on it all the time. People are like, wow, love that shirt. But you're just like guy wearing Pokemon shirt.
Right.
It's very clear that like you just like Pokemon.
Sure.
With mustache, it feels like that's like that guy can wear that shirt kind of funny because he's got like the mustache, so it's like a whole vibe.
It's like permission to own it.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like permission to own it, which I feel like I'm doing anyway.
Right? Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
like it's not like with a mustache, you're not just like it's not definite. Like if you're looking at me, you're not just like that guy definitely just loves Pokemon. He might just be like, everyone, because I have a mustache and now that I'm wearing this shirt, like. The vibe is that like that guy gets that people like Pokemon and he probably does too.
Right. Yeah.
Like he has understood something.
I see the distinction that you're going for. It's like I always talk about like when you see like the person on stage like performing for like a musical group or whatever, they've always got like a t-shirt that I feel like is like just right, but it's always like kind of like edgy in some way, shape, or form, or like maybe you're like performing in front of like 60,000 screaming fans and like SpongeBob is on your t-shirt and so it's sort of like, okay, who'd have thought SpongeBob,
right?
Right,
but you're like
somehow,
he's kind of
now it's kind of cool. Like he recognizes that the people here probably also love SpongeBob and they're like, hey, glad to see Mr. Bob up there.
There it is. Yeah, exactly.
Mr. SquarePants.
Yeah. So not that it's like totally changed my, like, oh, I shouldn't wear this without, I can't shave now or I can't wear the shirt anymore.
What would you say is the current over-under on the likelihood of you keeping it?
At the moment, I would still say it's less likely that I keep it forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough.
But who knows? I mean, we still got some time to go. I've also adjusted, in case you're wondering, I've adjusted the parameters around mustache growth limits or time.
Okay.
Which it only benefits the listener, wherein so the way it works is we're growing a mustache for 1 minute for every new follower I get on Instagram, every new email sign up we get at supercarlinbrothers.com, and for every $1 donated to Stop Sarcoidosis at the link in our description. And so I was doing it where I'd started the minutes passing at the start of May, but now I'm just doing it so that all of the minutes you accrue during the month of May the clock will start at the front of June. So I will grow the mustache throughout the entire month of May. The real game is how long can you make me keep growing it?
Yes. Which is something I highly encourage folks to participate in because it seems like a fun, joyous occasion. Plus, I am just so desperately curious to see because I think, and to me, it's almost one of these things where it's like the more days that go by where you still have it on your person, the more you will continue to adopt it as like a part of like your personality.
There is a like when I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror. There is still a part of like, oh, like I still like don't necessarily recognize myself.
Jump scare.
Like, oh yeah, mustache. Wow, it's looking different today. Like it's definitely much more noticeable now.
Yes. Well, so that's what I was trying to pull up while you were talking there is Ethan, the editor here in office, brought this detail up. So credit goes to him. But there's like a term called beard growth per second. According to Wikipedia, a beard second is the length of an average physicist beard grows in 1 second, which is 5 or 10 nanometers.
So just very slightly.
Right. So you could probably inflate your numbers instead of doing it like every new follower is like an extra minute. You could be like, what's 60 times 5? Like 300.
Yeah.
For every new follower, I will grow my beard 300 nanometers.
300 nanometers. That's it.
Yeah.
Which is just for another minute.
Which is just for another minute.
Yeah.
But, it seems like a lot.
It does feel like a lot
when you describe it like that.
So many nanometers.
Man. Yeah.
Flying.
Well, anyway, good mustache update. You're looking great. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're raising some money. It's been fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
In other good work news, this past weekend, Allie and I, boldly, I think, given the absolute massive amount of obligations that we had to the world, decided to venture into the waters of potty training.
Oh boy,
Miss Addison. Yeah. So this has been like one of those things for like a while now. Like Addy has it seems what is so fascinating to me is that privacy while going to the bathroom, I think, is almost like an instinctual thing. Like it feels like civilization came up with the idea for private bathrooms, stalls, people want to be separate. It's this thing that we do in a very solo capacity entirely.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where it's hard to know. Is that a construct of civilization, or is that something that instinctively at all times like inhumanity, like cave people type thing where like, no, I want to go and do this like kind of off of my own. I'm going to venture away from the tribe, get some alone time, you know, find some trees, a nice quiet spot and whatever. And so Addy for months now has been doing this thing like where she will go like our downstairs, we have like a half bath, like right off of the kitchen. And so she will regularly leave like the living room if she's like watching like a movie or something, or like if we're all like playing at like the dining room table or something, she will leave, go and pull the door shut and just quietly exist in the bathroom. And for months, I was like, I guarantee what this game is going to turn into is unroll all the toilet paper. And what's going to happen is like, we're going to keep going and opening the door and be like, Addy, what are you up to? I was like, nothing.
What? Nothing. Why?
Nothing. Huh? I didn't unroll all of it. Yeah. But amazingly, no, it's like the main thing she seems to be doing is just like going to the bathroom itself to go to the bathroom, just, you know, diaper
right, just in her diaper.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like one of these things where like, me and Allie were kind of like, okay, like it's hard to know, because that's the other thing too about parenting is that like everybody talks about the diapers. Like even as you're like barreling at having like, you know, the baby and there's like the baby shower and like all the like the accompanying stuff, and like people are like bringing you boxes of diapers as gift, which very much appreciated, you know, because they do get very expensive quickly.
Yeah.
It's like I think you build it up in your head as if like changing diapers is going to be this like massive upheaval or challenging aspect or even exhausting aspect of parenting. And at least for me, it hasn't been. Like, it hasn't really been that big of a deal. It's almost sometimes like in my mind, I'm like, I've been like hesitant to enter into the waters of potty training specifically because I'm like, there's a convenience factor to being able to like put her in her car seat. And if we need to drive, you know, for 1 hour.
Oh, this is for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like potty training is great because one, you don't have to like change diapers anymore, but there's not a zero convenience factor to diapers where like, I remember when we were doing it with Luke, it was like, we had to go like, we were driving. I think, what were we doing? I think we were getting COVID shots. Like, but like the only place that could do it at the time, because it was like right when it was happening, was like at some Walmart that was like an hour away.
I remember
in their
that,
pharmacy center. And like, and so we like brought the little potty with us in the car, and it was like if Luke had to go, we like would pull over on the side of the road and, you know, get him out and set him down, and he would go, and it was like, well, you know, this is basically what we have to do, because like he's not going to be able to hold it that long, and you know, we're not going to be near bathrooms, and it always feels like too whenever we're on car trips now with Luke, like we'll have been driving for like, you know, like 5 hours, and we'll be like 20 minutes away from home, and it'll be like, I have to go potty. Or like, can you just, I really don't want to stop now. We're so close.
So close. I know.
Close.
Yeah,
and then you still have to, and you're like, oh man.
That's a tough one. That is that is definitely a tough one. And, you know, so that's been like one of like my big things too. We got like the boat here recently. And so like, we're like all gearing up for like, you know, summer on the lake, which like, you know, in case you hadn't thought through the logistics of like boat life at all, like one of the big things that certainly can come up is the fact that there's no bathroom on the
boat.
And, you know, so it's kind of like, okay. And so in my head, I kept being like, I don't know if I'm in a hurry to do this, because it seems like it'd be a lot easier to change a diaper on the boat than it's going to be to solve that situation in some other way for her. But we did it. You know, we got like this like little potty, which is adorable. It's like literally, it's like shaped like a toilet. It's even got like a back and like a little flush knob that like makes noise.
Oh, that's
like,
funny.
Yeah, it doesn't obviously
flush.
There's no plumbing or water or anything like that. But so, you know, like it was one of these things where I think, you know, based on you and Beth had given us the tip of sort of like having like treats. So it's like, you know, if you go and you sit on the potty, then we will give you like a small treat. And then like if you successfully go to the potty, we will there's like a big treat, you know?
Right.
And so like she's aware of the fact that there's treats. So then she just wants to go to the potty after like 11 seconds because she's like, treat time?
Yeah.
And I'm okay, I see how quickly you gamified this situation.
Yeah.
But it's also really funny because it's like, you know, that like we go in there and she knows what she's supposed to do. And she's like asking to go and do it. And so like, you know, we're in, you're like, I'll just sit like with like the lid down on top of like, you know, the main toilet. And then she's on like her little toilet and we're just sitting there like talking or whatever. But it's like attempting to convey or explain the sensation of needing to go or like what that is like.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how to articulate it to you. I don't know.
You get that funny feeling.
Yeah. When you got to go potty, stop and go right away.
Yeah, Daniel Tiger.
I have been singing that all weekend. And like
I know.
almost unironically because
Oh, yeah.
excellent acoustics.
It is. I mean, it's like those little jingles are good because it's like that. There's like I feel like it's a way to like communicate with the kids.
yes.
Yeah.
But then also you get to like just break out your own like vocal rhythms. And
Yeah,
stuff
exactly,
and
right,
See,
yeah.
see what you got. You know, like so
Yeah.
if I ever am on stage in front of 60,000 people wearing my SpongeBob T-shirt,
Yeah.
then I'll probably break out some Daniel Tiger. I mean,
There
why
you
not?
go.
Good opportunity to use it.
Dude, so I think we were talking a few weeks ago about how like Fall Out Boy did the music for like the Hot Wheels show.
Yes,
And
yes,
then
which
think-
I listened to by the way. It's
Yeah, fantastic. And I was like, and I think they also did like the oh my gosh, what is it? Spidey and His Amazing Friends song
Okay.
as well. So like it occurred to me that it would be like so funny to like be at like a Fall Out Boy concert and just be like have like Spider-Man signs or something and like see if you can get
Yes.
them to do the theme song.
Oh, that would be
so
so
funny.
good. That would be so good.
Yeah.
Actually, on that exact note, I can't think of who it was now. When I was at the When We Were Young festival last year, one of the bands like got to their closer and they were like, I think you guys might know this one. And like you think they're gonna go for like one of their like ace songs, and they did Let It Go from Frozen. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is so good.
Amazing.
Anyway, so I really love that. But so anyway, yeah. So potty training though has been going well over the weekend. But the big thing was like we're going in there, we're trying to like break the seal, so to speak. Get like the first successful mission. So we're gonna be like, yes, that feeling, that is the one we're
That's
attempting
the one.
to describe. So she was starting to figure it out a little bit, but she still hadn't like gone, so to speak. And so like last night we got home from a cookout at your house.
Yeah.
And we're like, it's definitely at that point where it's like bedtime is like upon us. But we've been potty training all day and she hasn't gone all day. And so we're like, okay, the big thing is that we don't want to like send her to bed because that's like the worst way. The best way to get a bad night of sleep is for them to like have like a big accident.
Right,
'cause
yeah.
then they're just uncomfortable, very justifiably so. You risk the diaper rash, all the rest of everything. So it's like, okay, so we're gonna try to do this. So we go in and we're sitting in there, and then finally like she asks me to leave, and I'm like, okay, I'll do something. So I'm literally like door is shut to our downstairs bathroom. I am laying on the floor so I can see underneath the crack in the door and just like watch her feet like sitting on
On the potty.
on
yeah.
the potty. And so I'm just trying to make, because she's talking to me the whole time. I'm just trying to make sure like we're still in this together. Like this is still an attempt, right? Like you haven't started playing with toilet paper or something. Like we're still in it, and we're waiting and like, Alice is just like sitting there watching her on the floor, and like we have no idea what's going on. And then all of a sudden we just hear her go, I did it!
Aw.
And so like I rip the door open and she's like looking at the door. She's like, I pooped. Me and Allie are like, we're jumping for joy. And my downstairs bathroom was like maybe 12 square feet. Like it is
Right.
so small. And all three of us are standing in there, and it's the smell is horrid.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I'm so proud of you. Wash your hands. We need,
Yeah.
it was like all of a sudden, it's like, we weren't prepared for this. But it was just it was like the funniest, but also like I was so like overwhelmingly happy.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it, because it was like such like a proud moment.
Yeah.
And yet she was just
She
doing
did it.
something. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so anyway, we're super proud of her. So one day in so far.
One
and I
day
mean,
in.
Yeah, we're ticking boxes.
Well, I mean, good luck. Hopefully, it's just like it's like a 3-day thing, and you're like, boom, we got it. We're done. We're
know.
potty trained, and that's it. Set. Well done. Leave it in the dust.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I will say that as far as whether or not you think it's like instinctual to like be private, it was like I don't. My boys don't seem to have this problem. I don't think. I'll tell you.
I tell you what.
I tell you what, me and Beth were like, I go potty. And I was like, part of me is just like, like, okay, there's plenty of other bathrooms in the house. And he just, drops trowel and sits down and he's like, I'm pooping. I'm like, Luke, please go in your own bathroom, not the one we're already in.